manage. Yeah. Existing.
We are live on SPG. What's up, Yussi? In the chat already?
Wow. Do we even need the intro after that?
Well, we better roll it for posterity anyway.
We might as well. Let's do it.
Oh.
You're live in 3, 2, 1.
And we're right into it, right back.
And we're done on mine as well. I was a little delayed there.
It's all good. How you been, man?
I am doing real good. It's super nice to be back at everybody's mom's house. And,
yes.
You know, we're on time today. We got people pre-chatting. And yeah, man, what are you holding there?
Another criminal offense.
Oh,
not just legally, but on my my own personal morality. It's a Buckethead signature Chipson thing. Always been one of my favorite signature guitars of all time. And last I checked, they're going for no less than about $11,000 on Reverb.
True.
So I decided to, make that the excuse to pull the trigger on it. But it's a baritone 27-inch baritone. If I can actually hear it, maybe you guys will. It'll sound.
Yeah, dude, that sounds nasty.
Yeah, it's a thick boy. All around, it's got a massive neck on it. Body's oversized. I think even the headstock's oversized. So I mean, they got all the appointments pretty good. I will say it looks like it's got stainless steel frets on it too. I will say that it's got nice ball ends on it and stuff. And I've got a video coming out on it. I'm not done with it, but sneak peek for everybody that tunes into this. I will say that the frets on here are they're high.
Okay.
In some spots. So
sure.
I can't get the action down as low as I want to. But again, the bones are good. So there's that.
Dang, bro.
Going over to the legit side. There's an old friend that you got there.
Excalibur. Yes, it is the 78 Les Paul Deluxe. Using this Eddie Van Halen patch. It's pretty nice. It's very mid-rangey, I guess, the tone on that patch, and
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Close enough. Welcome back, Eddie.
Yeah, I found a Polyphia one too that I tried for a little bit, but yeah, that's right, Mountain Man, Brown Sound. What's up, Jimmy, Steve, Mountain Man, Mark, Spurgeon? We're cracking over here on my channel. It's good.
And despite the fact that we are both, well, you're holding the real thing, I'm holding arguably one of the most copied guitars in the world with the Chipsons. You may have seen the title of mine. I don't know what Sean titled his, but if you haven't heard the news recently, if you don't follow up on guitar news, G&L Guitars, not a brand that a lot of people talk about. Apparently they're done.
Closing the doors.
They are done. Yeah. A couple of names on YouTube have done it. Phil McKnight did it. Notably, I know a couple of other people did as well.
Yep.
But yeah,
hey, Johnathan, you're humming there,
up?
Sir. Your guitar's humming at us a little bit.
Sorry,
there we go.
I forgot to do that. There
you're good. We got it.
But yeah, so apparently G&L has closed its doors and laid off all employees. I can't really find an article per se.
Yeah,
just a bunch of forum posts and stuff. Well, no, Guitar World looks like it has one. Now that I'm just kind of, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like we have some, like Jerry Cantrell was a G&L artist. Or I guess is a G&L artist, however you want to look at it. So he's probably one of the biggest ones. But yeah, they just decided it was time to close it out, and I'm not really entirely sure why. There are some stuff that people are trying to blame for it, which we're not going to get into here, just because I don't want to. But look it up, and you'll figure out what it is. But the thing with G&L is that I've always really liked G&L guitars. Every time I've ever picked one up when I've had the opportunity to, because it's been very few and far between, and I think that's probably part of the reason why G&L has gone under, is because you can't find them anywhere in stores.
Sure,
in my experience, they've been great. The pickups were really high output. The necks were like fantastic on them. I mean, they stayed in tune. I mean, they were really, really nice, well built guitars, even their cheaper ones. And even my buddy Carl, Artist Shred, no Shred Zone, whatever you know him as.
Mm-hmm.
He not Artist Shred. What am I talking about? He's no Shred Zone. He did one a while back on the plus what was it called? The Placitia or something like, it sounded like placenta. It was something like that. Yeah, it was weird. And I think that name a lot of people didn't like, despite the fact that they were pretty decent guitars. I just don't know, man. I mean, G&L is one of those brands that I don't want to say I saw the writing on the wall, but just seeing as you couldn't really find them anywhere, it's like, how would people really know about it? And I know it's like me and you were talking about before we started, people were saying that it's the end of Leo Fender's legacy, and it's like, no, because Fender still exists.
Yeah,
but what's funny is that people say the same thing about Fender versus G&L and Heritage versus Gibson. And I actually heard this conversation in action at a Guitar Center the other day. They had bought in a Heritage, and the guy was like, yeah, they say if you want a Gibson, like a real Gibson, buy the Heritage, because of, Heritage's
right,
whatever. And he said the same thing. He said, it's just like with Fender. If you want a real Fender, you buy the G&L. And that's not the first time I've heard that argument. I've heard that argument a lot. And I think it's just because it wasn't, Fender's not, it's all big corporate blah, 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 blah now.
Yeah.
And CBS owned it at one point. And
I get that.
So, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay. So first and foremost, like G&L, I appreciate that you've tried. I mean, I played a couple of them. I don't care for them at all. It's not that I dislike the guitar. It's literally that it doesn't need to exist and never did, in my opinion. I just don't think that it was ever a brand that needed to exist. People weren't like, clamoring for stuff. I guess maybe right after the CBS merger or whatever, people wanted something, but he just continued to innovate where innovation wasn't necessary. It's kind of like one of those things, like, Leo peaked at the beginning. Like, you're not going to do better than a Strat or a Tele. Like, it's just not possible. They're so good. It's like, even now with all the stuff Fender puts out, like, it's unnecessary, in my opinion. Like, the Jaguar is unnecessary. The Mustang guitars are unnecessary. They serve no purpose, in my opinion, because the Strat and the Tele are so much better and so much more widely used that literally everything else is just a substitute, including a G&L version of either one of those guitars. So that's just sort of my baseline on G&L. It's not hate for the brand. I think it's cool that Leo kept going and trying to do new things. I just never thought they were necessary. I also hate the headstocks very much. And I understand that that's a totally personal to me situation. I have many headstocks in this, and even the one I made up here, I don't really love that much, but like the G&L headstock, I just didn't like it. So there was that. Secondly, Jimmy brings up a good point. They never really got the handle on marketing. As a company, they kind of stayed in that like 70s, 80s like era of marketing. Like you could find, like you were saying, you could find G&Ls like in a magazine long after magazine culture was over. you know, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like no social media presence, like nothing like that. Even Harmony got the memo. Like they started doing,
Right.
I mean, social media and stuff like that. So yeah, that was another part of their downfall. I just think like we don't need them. Like we never needed them, but we really don't need them now, especially with companies doing things like what you're holding there, or you know,
Right.
even that might be more nefarious. But like you can go get a really good telly from Firefly or from Harley Benton or from, a litany of other companies. You can get a super good Sir
Yeah.
tellies are awesome. Friedman makes a great telly. Like there's so many other places to get it. It's just like GNL was just kind of an outlier. So I'm not surprised to hear that. I don't think it's the end of Leo's legacy. Like it will never die. He made
No.
the Strat and the Telecaster, man. Like
Right. Like
it's
arguably one of the like. I mean, it's like people always talk about like the big three: Strat, Telly, Les Paul. Like they're there to stay. Or they're here to
yeah,
stay. You know,
yeah.
it's not. You know.
It can never
Yeah.
die.
So it's and again, I think that it GNL is really, to me, it is literally, it goes hand in hand with like what Heritage is with Gibson. It's like their, I don't want to say direct competitor, but I mean like GNL obviously was Fender, Leo Fender's thing,
Yeah,
where Heritage is just has that connection to Gibson. But yeah, I mean, and,
yeah,
and it's funny that I think both of those share the same thing in the sense that nobody likes their headstocks.
yeah.
People have a problem with the headstock because you
Well,
look at a
and
Heritage, it's
even
like,
Heritage is a little different to me because so GNL wasn't in the old Fender factory. Like they didn't
right,
do that. And it wasn't a
right,
bunch of old Fender employees. Maybe he took a few with him when he started GNL, but certainly none of those people are
yeah,
still working there. And also, frankly, like Heritage guitars are fucking better than GNL guitar. I mean, they just are. Like they're just better and they hold more
yeah,
true to their lineage than a
yeah,
GNL. GNL has those weird pickups and I know they sound good and I'm sure they play, the ones I played just fine. But like my buddy had a GNL Telly, they went budget too soon at
yeah,
GNL. Like there's no, Heritage had no budget line until last year. And that
right.
was a good move on their part because they built up a reputation of quality. And I just think they're not anywhere near in the same ballpark. Heritage will continue like for a long time and they'll be
Right.
profitable.
Well, and so I know you're talking about the Heritage budget line.
Yeah.
What's funny, I don't, I've seen the videos on them, but I've not seen them for sale anywhere.
Nobody wants them.
Um, right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like you said, if you'll just like they did it to maybe dip their toe into it and all that kind of stuff. But to me, it goes hand in hand with why like maybe PRS never said we're gonna go and try it to make a $200 guitar. Like they have
Yeah.
the SE line, which is fantastic on its own, but I mean, I think even their cheapest guitar to this day is that Satin SECE, and they're like $500 still.
Yeah.
Right, they're like $499 brand new. So it's like I think that if PRS went any lower than that, they
It
would
would.
fall by the
Yeah.
wayside
Yeah.
so quick
They'd make
because
that
everybody
line for like a year.
yeah.
It just
Well, I
wouldn't
mean,
be
it's even like the standard. They had the SE standard series at one point,
fun.
and I think those sat maybe right around the same price as the CEs do, those Satin CEs,
Yeah.
and they don't make those anymore.
Well,
So, I mean, it just kind of goes to show that and I've had both of them. I've had one of those SE standards and I've had the CE.
yeah.
And of the two, I think I kind of preferred the CE a little bit more, but
Nice.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean their CE line is incredible. Like nobody's really doing a value line the way that PRS is doing it. Here's where I'm at with that whole thing. Okay, so we talk about the Heritage budget line. First and foremost, if you make a set neck style guitar, nobody, and I mean fucking nobody, wants a bolt-on version of that. They just don't. I don't. It's a dumb.
Absolutely.
It's totally dumb. I'm not advocating that it's the right stance. It's just true. That's
Yeah.
it. Like even my Firebird back here, like it's a bolt-on, and the only reason I let myself get away with that is because the Voltour by Novo and the Fano Phoenix, I think it's called like the FNX or whatever, are bolt-on neck Firebird style guitar. So those seem to have precedent in quality. So I was like,
Right.
okay, but like if nobody had ever made a non-set neck Firebird, I would not have bought a bolt-on neck version of a Firebird. I just wouldn't have done it. And that's just the way it is. Like that's why PRS CE line's so good. That's why PRS made the Strat, is because that's the only way they can sell a bolt-on PRS is by having a version that has precedent as a bolt-on neck style guitar. So it's just true that like, I mean, yeah, like I don't want a bolt-on neck SG. Yussi's bringing up
Yeah.
the the SG studios and stuff. Like I don't want a bolt-on neck SG or a Les Paul or that the my Flying V over here is a set neck. I had to glue it in. I don't want a bolt-on neck. Like anything that's I don't want a bolt-on neck PRS DGT. Like we don't want it. And so that's why the
Right.
Heritage line doesn't do well. That's why the Epiphone starter guitars don't do well. Like
Yeah.
they had to like do the routed bolt for the little kids ones even, so that like your hand is touching wood and not a metal
Yeah.
plate on those. Like it
Mhm.
really is a delicate thing. It's just like set neck style guitars are not going to sell in a bolt-on necks like setup. And so I think that's why that happens. That's just my unadulterated opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, now I will say this because I can say it unbiased, I guess.
Mhm.
So I get your point with if you make a set neck version or a neck through or whatever, nobody wants the bolt-on alternative.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand that completely because same thing. I love Les Pauls. I don't want a bolt-on Les Paul. They're okay. Some of the Epiphones are okay if you just want something kind of quirky or different, whatever. But generally speaking, yeah. I think, if anything, the PRS, the CE is the exception to the rule. And
Okay.
I say that because I've played the cheap one, own the cheap one, like I said, and then I've played the more expensive ones, like the $2,000 plus whatever ones. And I mean, they're good. They are good. And I don't want to hear anybody say, "Oh, but they're snappier." They're like, we're not getting into that.
Right.
Let's bolt on, it snaps more. No, it just, I mean, it to me, it has all of everything to do with up here. Bolt-ons can be a little bulky. They can be a little more squared, kind of like a lot of Fenders are. But, at the end of the day, I think with PRS, love them or hate them, they offer something for everybody, and they kind of get it right on all levels in my eyes. Like I've never really played a bad PRS per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just played ones that I don't prefer, which is fine. I mean,
Right.
that's better than,
Right.
oh, they just all suck. And I
Yeah.
think people hate on them so much because it's like they're dentist guitars, or doctor guitars, or lawyer guitars. It's like that's a whole separate topic. But I mean,
I
that's
want
what
one. I really
oh yeah,
I like their single cuts quite a bit. And I would love to have, either like maybe an older Mark Holcomb SE
right.
single cut.
Mm,
I do like I I like their guitars. I just haven't bought one, and I probably
yeah.
will at some point. But yeah, I mean, I've everyone I've played probably just like the experience with GNL. It's kind of one of those things where with PRS for me, like PRS doesn't need to exist. They do, and I'm happy about that because they make cool guitars, but they don't need to exist in the way that other brands do. Like Novo, in my opinion, needs to exist. They make incredible instruments. It's a unique body shape. It's like
Mm,
to me, like certain boutique builders, like we need them. I don't know that anybody needs PRS, but I would certainly say people are glad that they can spend $10,000 on a wood library, PRS, Paul's guitar or whatever. They're cool, but
Right.
they're not necessary. Like really, the brands that are necessary are, frankly, they're Fender, they're Gibson, and I don't even know what argument, maybe you're talking Jackson or um, but it's just kind of, we're over diversified here. We've got like 15 guitar companies building Strats and Tellys. Like that's not needed,
Right.
But I
Well,
digress.
then how do you feel about something like this? So, just to kind of maybe blend two things into this. So, Nuno Bettencourt, he launched a new brand of guitars. He left Washburn and now has Nuno guitars. And then something that I mentioned at the end of our show last week was that Samurai Guitarist launched his own brand, Otero Guitars. I think is how you say that.
Okay.
And now the difference here is, I kind of feel like if you look at Nuno Bettencourt, what did he play? He played the Washburn like S-type deal. So you kind of wonder if that's what those are going to be like. I'm not really looked into it, but they're probably going to look. Yeah, they look exactly like the Washburns.
Oh, really?
That he played for. Yeah, they look exactly like the Washburns he was playing for, which is kind of expected. I mean, that's kind of his thing. It's a weird shape. Shape has never really been my favorite.
I mean, far be it from me to trash anything.
Samurai guitars. Right, you're right. But I will say that the Otero one, that's a funky looking guitar. Like it really is. It looks really strange. So I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like doesn't need to exist in the same way that say what was the brand you just mentioned? What's the one you just mentioned there? Novo.
Novo. Yeah.
Yeah, Novo. I just blanked there. Doesn't need to exist in the same way that they do. And if you've not seen it, like I said, it looks funky. But it is like 100% Samurai Guitarist because he always did the world's weirdest guitars thing that he did where he had the weirdest stuff on his channel.
Yeah. He's a funky guy anyway, for sure.
And they sold out like immediately.
Okay.
I think they were like
nice.
$1,400, $1,200, somewhere around in there. So not super expensive.
I'm saying try anything for sure.
Yeah.
But like,
absolutely.
G&L has been limping for like 2 decades.
Yes.
I would say
will agree with that.
Try anything for sure. Like Claudio Sanchez from Coheed and Cambria is making a guitar right now through his sort of private company called Kill Audio, which is like Claudio Kill Audio. And it's called the Jackhammer. And it's a flying V, essentially, or it's like, and it's kind of like Wild Audio, Zach Wild's stuff. So it has a flying V ass end, and then it has a horn like a Explorer, and then it's got this like big hook down at the bottom, like Prince style, almost like something like over exaggerated. It's a cool guitar, and I'm a huge Coheed and Cambria fan, and I like want one, but I think the market will dictate whether or not these things need to exist. And then maybe Samurai, it's kind of like what Phil McKnight did with those Badlands guitars. Like,
yes,
they got the headstock right. It's totally palatable. They're super cool. I've looked at them. They're way too expensive, and I just don't think they're going to sell that many of them. I get it. It's made in America. It's all good. I fully support anybody who wants to buy one. I think they're cool looking, like cool as shit. I would definitely play one. I'll never have enough money to buy it.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of one of those things. Like the market will dictate whether all of these things need to exist. I think that we know by now which ones do and which ones
Yeah.
sort of hover around the bottom. And if you're low on overhead, Friedman doesn't sell a shitload of guitars, but they always have 4 or 5 in stock at Sweetwater, so
Right. Yeah.
it's
I
just
think that their bread and butter is their amps, because the
it
Friedman
is.
amps are
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. They're just
Never been a
making
big fan of
guitars
Friedman
because they
guitars.
can, because of all that amp
Yeah.
money, so.
Right. Yeah, that's something that I've always kind of wanted to get, was like a Friedman amp. Just I've had the Friedman, when they made the little like
The
Soldanos and stuff,
babies.
they made
Yeah.
the little baby Friedman one. I had that one time too. That thing was awesome. That thing
Yeah.
was really, really cool. It was just a little solid state thing, but it was so cool. Now, when you look at maybe this raises the question, do other brands, like sub brands, need to exist, as far as like, say, Donner, for example? Because what is
Right.
Donner doing? Making Strat copies. I mean,
That's
they've made kind
true.
of everything, but they're one of those brands that make something that someone could get if they want something maybe slightly different, that's kind of familiar, that they can afford. But it's like, then you look at it and say, well, what about Squier? Like, Squire's doing the Fender thing
Yeah.
for a lot of times cheaper than Donner does,
Well,
as an example. But
the problem is that the way that those bigger companies are set up, and I think you can speak to this with your experience with Donner. The Donner guitars are the same price as a low-end Squier, or sometimes less expensive. They are
yeah,
far better in quality. So like, whatever the thing is, I think the overhead at a company like Fender or Squier does not allow for them to use stainless steel ball end frets, good sounding electronics. Like, they just have to make it shitty, and they have to do it quickly. I don't know how good their CNC factory is. Donner seems to be doing a much better job. So like, there are companies that need to exist like Donner, where they do Squier better than Squier. Same for Harley Benton. Like, that's probably better than your average Epiphone triple pickup SG.
right.
And it was $250. It wasn't $1,100. So I think there are companies at the bottom that need to exist that do really well, because they do the replicant thing better than the company that owns the official replicant.
So then, this is something that I've thought about before. How come someone like Squier or Epiphone, just as two examples, how come they don't feel the need to either put in the extra time for the QC, or do something like put in the stainless steel frets, but yet you have brands like eArt or
Yeah.
maybe Harley Benton on some of their
Yeah.
stuff, they can do it in the price range that, Squier sits at, really, or maybe just slightly more, $50 more, or whatever.
Yeah.
How do they get it to where they can be that competitive, do you think? But Squier and Epiphone and all the big established brands that have the money and the resources to do that, like, they just choose not to. I'm not saying like the new
Yeah.
Squiers and the new Epiphones are bad as they are,
Sure.
but and again, I'm still not even saying that stainless steel frets are necessarily better, but that's kind of the trend. That's kind of what people want. That's kind of what
Yeah.
people are going after,
It's a value
you
add.
know,
Yeah.
to add value to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, how do they not? Do you think they just are too stuck in tradition, or do you think they're
I
afraid of like the
think,
feedback from the public?
well, let's take like I think the only Squire line that's ever really mattered, which is well, you know what I'm talking about.
Classic vibe.
Yes, the classic vibe. Thank you.
Throw the vintage modified in there too. They're practically the same thing.
Sure. Those are the only lines of Squire guitars that have ever mattered. Like, they could literally drop everything else and just make those, and people would be fine with that, because Donner is doing a $250 guitar better than Squire is. Now, why? I think is due strictly to corporate greed.
Yeah.
I think that they're
That's
not
exactly what I
willing.
was thinking.
It's like people will buy the Squire even though it's a piece of shit. They'll mod it, like, they'll do it, like but if you buy a Donner, you don't need to mod that guitar. So,
Right.
like, it's kind of one of those things where, like, they're like, "No, we're just not going to put in the effort on that, like, we're not gonna eat any profit margin on Squire guitars, we're just gonna keep them shitty, people will still buy them, and they'll spend money with pickup manufacturers and, Tusk and, whatever. Music Lily on Amazon, there's so many ways to modify your Squires now that
Yeah.
it's just, like, not necessary to them, and they're not willing to, like, to eat that corporate profit, which is sad, but probably true, and similar to Epiphone, I would say, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think part of it with Epiphone is you look at, I don't really remember the time frame that did it. I would say probably around like 2014, 2015, when Gibson started to try to do things like the Robo tuners, and they were doing all these weird things to the guitars, but putting a volute on the back of the headstock. Like they got so much back from that, being like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing, messing with tradition?" Like it was all about tradition. So then that's where they kept doing it for a little while. They kept changing the standard and making it not the standard, and that kind of pissed people off too.
Mhm.
Then they ended up saying, you know what? Look, we have a modern line, we have our standard line, da 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 da. And I guess to some degree that made people happy, which you see, I mean, you even see like Fender and Squire doing that too. They
Yeah.
have their contemporary line with Squire and stuff, but it's like you said, do we really need, I mean, yes, I say we need it because it's always good to try to make things better. It's
Yeah.
always good to try to modernize things because yes, I mean, if you look at a Les Paul, it's flawed. It,
Yeah.
it was flawed out the get from the get go. I mean, the volute in the '70s when they put that on there, that was a great way to keep the headstock from falling off.
Got
You
one
know,
right here.
that neck angle. There you go. Exactly. The
Yeah.
neck angle, the neck break angle is. I mean, Epiphones is better, just slightly,
Way
but it's
better.
better
And so
whether
is
you like it or
the
not.
scarf joint. Like, that's a better
Exactly.
it's a better way for sure. I think it's proved
Exactly.
over and over again to be better.
So I mean, it's got its flaws, and it's like it almost seems like when they tried to fix it, it was like, no, don't do
Hey,
that.
hey,
And you have
yeah.
your, so, but I don't know. I think that's part of the reason Epiphone won't do things like that. But if they do, they'll put it in like, oh, we'll throw it in the modern. Because like to me personally, I I like the moderns,
Mhm.
but I am in that traditional boat because I love like a big baseball neck, and you're not going to find a modern with that because it's all, we need the compound radius fretboards and we need the
Willa-wa.
really thin, so
Yeah, I agree. We are us guitarists in particular are a very finicky crowd.
yeah.
Um, and I'll just say this, and then maybe we got a couple of comments here, and they'll tie in for sure. But I think innovation uh, needs to come from an outside company, not from like Gibson. It's been proven that they're not allowed to innovate. They're allowed to create new
Yeah.
guitars that feel like old ones, but they're not allowed to, like, like those Alex Lifeson Les Pauls with the, Kaler in them, or like whatever. Like, none of that stuff sells. Nobody likes that shit.
Right.
We just want Flying V's and Explorers and stuff, all with the same setup. I want the same Gibson guitar in 6 different shapes, and that's it. I mean, like, they're just not really allowed to innovate. Like, same for Fender. Fender gets away with it a little better,
Mm,
because I think because of the modability of their guitar models. But I just think,
yeah.
like, if you're going to innovate, you need to be a different company entirely, and that's just the way it goes. New companies get away with doing new shit, and established ones, people want what they want, and that's kind of a tough, but that speaks to what you're talking about.
Right. And like even this makes me think of something too that is like I'm gonna try to find it and see if I can pull it up here. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see if I can put this on screen here, maybe for people, maybe not. Anyway, the neon. You ever seen the neon Les Pauls that they did
Oh yeah,
a
yep.
while back? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like I was a fan. I've
Sure.
never obviously never played one or whatever, but when
Sure.
I saw them after the fact, I was like, man, I'm a fan of those. They got the Floyd on it. And that's like the one thing that I'm making an exception for is a Floyd on a Les Paul. If you can make it work, it's really cool. I had an Epiphone Nightfall one time, and that was so cool. And I regret selling that. Despite the fact it was just a studio with a Floyd Rose on it. But anyway,
Sure.
Yeah, like those are cool. I'm a big fan of like neon colors. Like, I mean, you hand me like a yellow gem or something, and I will despite the fact that it's not anything like I normally like. But yeah, I mean, something like that. People got really upset at that over a color,
which is just wild.
Take
That's
the Floyd
just
away.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, not every freaking Les Paul has to have a tobacco burst or a sunburst or cherry sunburst, whatever, with flame top on it. Like, not everyone has to have the same thing. Like, you're okay. It's okay to change the color.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because even something is like this. I mean, it's a freaking baritone Les Paul. It's got kill switches. It's only got 2 knobs on it. Like, it's,
yeah,
like that. It's not. I don't know. It just people. It just seems like people need a reason to complain about something sometimes.
Dude, you know that.
I don't get it.
You know that. All right. So Yussi was asking if he has 2 Les Paul studios, and he's asking if he should like use one to swap for an SG. I told him absolutely, it would be a great idea to swap that. Your thoughts on that? Should he diversify a little bit?
Yes. Just because I think it's good to have both. I have both, and I like having both for the versatility of the playing and everything. But I will say this. I like the Les Paul Studios. I think they're good. I would stay away from the SG specials, not the ones with the P90s in it. The ones with the P90s are really good.
Yeah.
But those older, like maybe kind of satiny finished, like SGJs and all that kind of stuff, I would stay away from those.
Okay.
Those aren't the greatest. But you can find, if you look, you can find SG standards, the one with the big pick guard on it, a lot of times for under $1,000.
Yeah.
Or right around $1,000.
Yeah, totally.
Personally, I prefer the 61 with the smaller pick guard. It's got a slightly thinner neck on it, but I tend to like thinner necks on SGs, ironically enough. That's my take on it. So
there you go.
SGs are finicky. Play one before you buy one.
Yeah, you have to get used to that different forward shifted picking and stuff like that. But they are super I like the thinness of the SG. I think it's like really fun to have a guitar that feels like that close to you. It's just like and the body shape is great.
And it's so funny how it's so different.
Oh yeah.
Yet it's so familiar to a Les Paul. If you're a Les Paul and you pick one up, it's like once you get used to it, you're like, oh, I kind of see like the vision here, with it. And I know that sounds maybe kind of crazy because they are radically different, but
yeah,
I don't know. That's just me. I've always had problems with SGs. Just it took me a long time to find an SG that I really was like, that's my SG.
Right. So, I remember your journey over the last few years of like trying different SGs and getting rid of them and being like, you know what, that one was pretty good. And it is. I got lucky with my Harley Benton. I think the longer the scale length on that sort of, I don't know. It softened the blow a little bit for some reason. It's a cool guitar. So I just kind of got used to it also. Let's see. And then there was another one. Steve Gunner says his 80s Gibson Sonex is a bolt-on and he loves it. And going back to that bolt-on for a set next like, it's not that the brand is a set neck brand. Obviously, you can get away with it. The Silver Sky was like the top selling guitar of 2023 or whatever.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, it's a matter of precedent for the model, in my opinion. Now, like, I don't know much about the Sonex, but it's probably started life as a bolt-on. So if the guitar is presented to the public in its very first iteration as a bolt-on neck guitar, typically you can go ahead and like count that one
get
as
away with it.
safe. Yeah, it's safe, you
Yeah.
know. Also Keith for the love of guitars with Keith is in the chat. What up, dude? And the Tooth joined the chat as well. And just want to say thanks for hanging out with us today. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's interesting with G&L going out of business. Like, I just don't think it's gonna hurt anything. Like, nobody will even notice. in a
It'll
year.
hurt feelings for people that are like maybe fans of the brand, but
Mhm.
I got a comment over here too. Twisted Lines 1, the Epiphone Wilshire, that look and feel, I like that. Yeah, so
Those are cool.
the Wilshire and the Coronet,
Mm-hmm.
those are Epiphone original shapes, right? I don't know if I've ever played one. I like them. I like the way they look. Don't they have like the white? It's like a white
Batwing.
custom with like
Yeah.
like that thing. That's cool. Like that's like a top end, not top end, but you know what I mean, like the higher end of like their Coronet line or whatever.
Yeah.
I like them. They're a little funky. I don't remember which one has the one P90. That's probably the one I would go
That's
for.
the Wilshire. The Coronet is comes in two configurations. My dad had a Coronet for a while, and it was red. It had the weird Epiphone, not the old school headstock, but like the Strat style headstock on it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And that one was kind of fun to play. I don't know that it was ever set up really well. But again, like, perfectly fine to sell a bolt-on neck guitar out of a traditionally set neck company. I don't think that those guitar, like, they brought them back recently and it was like what nobody asked for. Like, it just, they don't
Yeah.
matter. Like, it's kind of like their version of a Strat or something. And like, they're cool, but they're a side dish. They're not the main course.
They're like a
at all.
relic of the past with them too. It's one of those like quirky things you have in there that it's not your main guitar by any means, but it's just like, oh, I have this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go pick up my standard now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, all right, let's put the Coronet down and grab the SG because that's what I actually want, you know?
Right. Yeah. Which I mean, in a way, it almost, you kind of feel bad because you're like, maybe you're not exploring your stuff. Because I mean, like that's the thing with me is I've tried to keep my mindset open to things, and what it's done is it's introduced me to things like Kramer. Like, I love Kramer guitars.
Yes.
I've got I've got a Night V and I've got the two Hot Doggers, and they are fantastic guitars. I mean, the
Kramer
visuals,
guitars are sick.
Kramers are cool.
Kramer
But
needs to exist more than Washburn or, you know, like Dean. Like, Kramer needs to exist. They fall in that category to me. Like, they make stuff that other people don't make, and that's what's cool about them.
Right. I mean, and you got something like, I mean, the Beretta is one of my favorite guitars too.
Great
despite
guitar.
the fact I've got two 84s, but the Berettas are awesome.
Yeah.
And that'll be the next Kramer that I get at some point in time is a Beretta.
Nice.
The only thing that with Kramer that people have made the good point about is I don't think that there are any USA made Kramers. I think they're all the way that Gibson, because Gibson owns the Kramer brand and everything. The way that they kind of treat them is how they have treated Epiphone, where they're kind of making it like, oh yeah, we have this other brand, so we're gonna just kind of, I don't know, it could be testing the waters, kind of a little bit, because I know that Kramer, the Kramer revival is still relatively new-ish. I mean, it's been around for a couple of years, but that's something that I've seen people saying too, is like, if they made some USA Kramers now, they would probably make a lot of money.
Yeah, I think that would do, if they made like a Night V and a Beretta and you know, maybe that, what's the model, the 84, like if they made those
Yeah.
3 in the US, I think they would do pretty darn well.
Well, and I mean, it's even like what they did with Epiphone. What did they got? They had a USA Epiphone acoustic. I think it's was it the Texan or whatever it's called.
Right.
And then I think they have the Coronet that they make in the US. So they have 2 US. It took them, 30 years or however long.
Well, and they make
get
the acoustic as well. They make that what is it called, the country western or like whatever.
Well,
They
yeah. So they've got one of each, and it's like, again, I've not tried one of those, but I imagine it's probably about the same as a Gibson.
Why are we doing that model made in the USA for Epiphone?
Well, so I think it's because that is an Epiphone original design.
Sure.
Gibson had nothing to do with it.
Yep.
So if they did an American Epiphone Les Paul, it's like, well, why
that's
not
a
just
Gibson.
Call it a Gibson?
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
So I think that's why they did that. But then again, if you go back, because there's always an exception to the rule, I guess. If you go back and look, I think back in the 80s, they had American Squires. Right?
So they had
very brief.
It was brief. I know the ones that everybody always clamors about for Squire are the Japanese made ones, because they made them in the Fujigen factory for a little bit. Very short period of time, like 1 or 2 years, I think, max, or something like that. I don't know about the American made Squire, but I know they exist, but I don't know any of the history on that. I only know the Japanese ones.
The only thing
Black
that
label.
The only way that I heard about them was Steve from Boston, formerly Pixie Licks. He did years ago a Squire shootout series, whatever. And in the second video of that's what he mentioned. He went through and like, here's some ones that I had before, and he was playing a Japanese one. And then he was like, people were asking about the American ones, and he's like, I don't have that one, but yeah, they made them for a very short period of time. And I was like, that was weird. Like, why make why not just call it a Fender? But then again, more exceptions to the rule. You have like they've made Korean Fenders, they make Japanese Fenders, there are Chinese Fenders, the tellies with the 2 humbuckers and like the flame tops on them, those like weird modern things. Those are made in China.
Yeah.
And then now you have the Indonesian Fenders, the standards. So it's like it's blurring the lines between, like, because especially with Fender and Squire, it's like you get to a point where you get like the classic vibe, and then you might get like those modern players, which I don't make those anymore, but those are also made in China. They call those Fenders, but they call the classic vibe Squire. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're giving too many options. Like, at that point, it's like someone just can barely afford the Fender, but it says Fender, so I'm gonna look. It's the same concept with buying a Gibson. They're affordable. It says the right name up here. It looks the part, so you look cool to your other people until they get up on it and say, "This is fake as shit." Yeah, that's no accusation. That's just me, off the top. But I mean, that's just, I don't know. It's so convoluted. God bless anybody trying to get into this hobby now.
Right? Yeah.
Research on the history.
We are no shepherds to the herd on these topics, because it really just it's the Wild West. Like, there's no truth in anything other than this, as far as my estimation. Put the guitar in your hand, play it. Does it sound good? Does it feel good? Do you connect to it? Change your battery. Change your battery.
I changed it before we started.
Like, there is no truth beyond that. Like, that is the only thing that matters. The cost doesn't matter. The brand doesn't matter. Where it was made doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's just, is it good? If it is good, if it feels good, if it sounds good, it is good.
Well, and you know what the problem is that when you start out, you're not thinking about that.
Right.
When I started out, I mean, I had my first real electric guitar was an Ibanez RG2EX1 made in China, I believe, is either that or Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought nothing of like, oh, there are Japanese Ibanezes that are awesome, probably
Right.
better than this. It was just like, this is cool, it works, and I got through my day.
Yep. That's what is true. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole thing it's just like my first electric guitar was a Squire Bullet Duo Sonic, and it was actual trash. Like it would not stay in tune. Like it didn't do it. It was basically unplayable. It sounded really bad. And as soon as I got that telly that I was playing the other week, the made in Japan Telecaster, I put it in my hand and I was like, oh, this is what a guitar is supposed to feel like. And it didn't matter. Those were only $650 at Guitar Center when they were released. So it's not like, yeah, it's a made in Japan Fender with a fake photo flame, whatever, but they were only $650. My dad got it and for my graduation, so he spent a little more money than he normally would have for a graduation present. And the thing is that it happened to be made by some of the greatest guitar makers the world has ever seen in the Fujigen Japanese factory. And it's a fantastic guitar. And it didn't matter. Now they're $1,500, but they were a quarter of that or a third of that cost when they first came out. And that like speaks more to my point. Like it does not matter, because anybody on any given day in any given factory can make a banger of a guitar, dude. Like
At any price point.
At any price point, for sure.
I mean, and that again is something that it's like going back to just because you have an overseas made something, you could have paid $200 for it today. It could be $600 tomorrow. Quality could stay the same, but it's like, well, if you pay $200 for it, you win. You're not paying $600 to get the same, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. It's but I think that that's just something that it's like you said, where you have the piece of crap, like it's just objectively a piece of crap, and then you get something. You're going to equate that to say, well, that XYZ is bad. Maybe you're not thinking of country of origin. You're just thinking of that model, that name, whatever.
Sure.
And I think that's where maybe a lot of people think, oh, I had a Squire and I got a Fender and I have more fun with the Fender because it stays in tune and da-da-da-da. Squire bad is kind of the thing.
Keith brings up a really good point too. You will suck no matter how much the guitar costs or what the name on it is. And that is probably even more to the point. It's like, I am so much better of a guitar player from when I even first got the Fender that but I will say, having something of some type of substance or quality, whether that be a Donner or a Fender or an Epiphone or a good Squire Classic Vibe. I mean, I played Classic Vibe Tellys, the 50s butterscotch one. Holy shit. It was like $300 used at Guitar Center. And that thing was fucking good, dude. Like really good. And so it's like none of the other stuff matters. All that matters is like where you're at in your guitar journey. Are you inspired to play every day by the instruments that you have around you? And then, like Tooth brings up his $179 Tease Strat. Tease is a really cool new company. They've been around for a couple of years now. And he says it feels better and plays better than his made in Mexico Strat, and he paid a lot more for the MIM Strat, and that totally tracks, dude. That happens all the time. Johnathan probably has a million different examples of that, where you had a Donner or like in your Donner versus Fender video, where people thought the better sound came from like the cheapest Donner.
The like $99 Donner. Yeah, exactly.
$100 Donner performed better in the poll. Everybody thought that one was the Fender. It's just like goes to show you, it's like none of that other.
You worry about the wrong thing sometimes,
right?
It's, that's why I harp so much. It's like, look, to flat out say that some things just don't matter, to some degree they do.
Sure.
Everything on the guitar matters. Pickups, the wood even probably matters, but it's literally like that much.
Yep.
If you could see how close my fingers are, you would know how
Fractions
much
of
I'm
a percent.
It is literally that much. So people, when they say it's this massive difference, it's like it's not.
No.
I'm sorry. Blind tests like that prove that.
Yep.
Because you can't, because it's what everybody says. You listen with your eyes, and that's what it is. So again, even something like this, if you see that magic name up there, but then you see somebody playing an Epiphone,
Yeah.
even if you didn't know the difference and you knew that this was a fake or didn't know this was a fake, you would look at me immediately and say, that guitar is better. Objectively, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a $220 guitar that was made to fool somebody. There are quality issues.
Yeah.
I mean, there are. I mean, I've played established $220 guitars, Donner being a good example, that are spades better than this out of the box.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just, people don't want to be seen with that. And again, it's an image thing. I've said that for so long. It is an image thing. People just don't want, they want to look better than they are. But
don't get in your head. That would be my advice. Like, don't get in your head about it. When I live stream on Friday nights, going live tomorrow at about 10 p.m. Pacific Standard, be square. I switch from this $5,000 to $6,000 guitar to my $75 Strat to my $400. Like, I switch guitars up like throughout the entirety of the stream. Literally nothing changes other than like how I feel. Like, I want to play all my guitars. I want to give them time, because otherwise, why do I own so many? And like, the only thing that changes is a little bit of tone and literally nothing else. I don't get better when I switch I don't get worse when I switch from the Gibson to the Harley Benton. I don't get better when I switch from the Harley Benton to the Fender. Like, I play the same because I am where I am in my guitar capabilities. And it does not matter which one I'm playing. The only reason I do it is because I like them. Like, that's it. It's just like fun to have multiple guitars. And I never think about how much they cost. I never do that.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the only time I ever think of how much they cost is if you're getting more than what you paid for.
Sure.
I mean, honestly, with this Chips and journey I've gone on consistently, because I will say this, Sean knows there are 3 of them. This is the second one. I'm not going to show you all the third one yet. So you've been graced with that information ahead of time.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that one. It's cool.
A little sneak peek.
But consistently, they've been realistically more than what I paid for.
Sure.
And I talk about them in the videos why that's good and bad. But yeah, I mean, even with like Squire, like you said with the Classic Vibe, the best, I will say to this day, the best deal that I've ever gotten on a cheap guitar was when I went to Hot Frog, which is my local music store in Dallas, Georgia. If you're in the area, you come down this way, go check him out. He had, before he moved his locations, he had just gotten in a Squire Classic Vibe Strat, and he had it kind of on the back, and it was dirty, whatever. And I said, I kind of looked over the counter one day. I was like, what's that? Oh, this old lady just brought it in. He said, I said, how much you want for it? And he looked at it and he was like, yeah, like $100. And I was like, here, like, take it,
child, please.
And that was and it was one of those with the tone rider pickups in it and stuff. So like, you had like the not super cheap pickups in it and all that kind of stuff, which I know I just said pickups don't matter, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that thing was phenomenal. It was a tobacco burst with the tortoise shell pick guard. I'm like, for $100, that is the best cheap guitar I've ever gotten. Like the best used deal I've ever gotten.
Classic Vibe. I will stand on business when I say that is the only Squire line that has ever mattered to the culture of guitar playing, like the art of it. Like they contributed with the Classic Vibe series. Like they contribute to everything with it, for sure.
Because even with me, like I don't care for tellies, but another Classic Vibe story is I had the Esquire. I had a Squire Esquire, and that thing was, and I love Esquire.
Bad to the bone, dude.
Those things are so cool. I did end up getting rid of it. I just kind of fell out of love with it. I think it's one of those, but I regret it. I do. So I kind of want to get maybe another one at some point. I do have my John 5 telly over there, which is my second one that I've had, the gold one. And like that's my telly.
There you go.
For dual humbucker things. But we're working on the traditional telly. Anyway.
Well, you know what's nice in your position is you sort of poke and prod at these things, and I think that's a good thing. Like you're very you use your channel for like self-experimentation when it comes to trying different instruments. I think that's awesome. And we all get to benefit because we get to see and hear all these things that you're out there trying out. You're like a guitar scientist. And Keith says, personally, I see nothing wrong with going for a guitar based on a name, regardless of if it plays or sounds better. Things are too subjective. If you want to spend money to look cool, go for it. Totally agree.
Oh yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I mean, I don't think we knock anybody for preferring, the name on the headstock. That's 100% all of our own decisions. And he also adds, he thinks that people like the feeling of getting a deal when they buy a budget guitar, kind of like, see what I did. I got this really sick guitar for super cheap. 100%. That's also true. And yeah, I mean, I think all this stuff is it's just 100% subjective. Like we're a you do you boo boo type of podcast. Like do whatever you want. I do think there are brands that don't matter, don't need to exist. I think there are other brands that like we're all really glad that they exist, but maybe they're not number one. You know, PRS brands like Rock and Roll Relics, where they just make like a version of. They have several. They have bolt-on stuff, so they have Strats and Tellys and I think a Jazzmaster style, and then they also make set neck stuff. So they have hollow bodies. They have Les Pauls, and I think I've seen a couple of Flying V's. Their headstock is super cool. They don't need to exist, but I think that we can be glad that they do, because they also make their own body shape, which is kind of like a Les Paul, kind of like a junior with a elongated ass and like a horn. It's a really weird shape, but it's kind of cool. And I mean, I think there are things that like, I'm glad that they're out there because, variety is the spice of life. But G&L didn't really offer much variety. It was kind of like,
but what Sean is saying is if you rock up to him playing a PRS, a G&L, or some weird rock and roll relic, he's not going to bash you for it. He's just going to be like, cool guitar, whether he means it or not, and move on.
Yeah, that's right. Or, I mean,
and that's the way it should be,
Yeah, it's just to be like, cool, man. I mean, I saw a guy with like doing a solo gig somewhere recently, and he had like 2 Fender Tellys and a G&L Telly, and I was kind of like,
interesting.
Why? But also, like, I did not say anything because why be rude about somebody's personal taste in their guitar? Like, who cares? It's not mine. I wouldn't do it, but that headstock on them G&Ls, I just never. I don't like what's the one that Greg Koch is his guitars are through them. Reverend or
yes, it is Reverend.
Is it Reverend?
I believe it is Reverend.
And they have that jagged headstock with the ball on the end. And it's like that looks kind of like a pig wiener. Like it's not good. It doesn't look good. Like I'm sorry, I don't like bad headstocks necessarily. The Heritage one I could get over. It's kind of a pinhead, but I could get over that probably. But I just don't like bad Strat. That's why Novo's so awesome. Like literally their guitar could look like anything. The headstock is good. Like it to me, it matters for some reason, and it might not matter to literally anyone else. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, this was I was ranty today, brother.
Yeah, I think we both were. That's but you know what? That makes for good television, I guess.
That's what
Even
the
though we're not
space.
television.
That's
Television's
what the
dead.
space is for. Television's so dead, dude.
Well, at least cable's dead, I think. Streaming's alive and well, but that's why
Yeah.
we stream here. See what I did there? Anyway.
Every week, as a matter of fact.
Every week. Every Thursday, life allowing, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And we usually go till about 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, which right now it's 3:05. So I think we are unfortunately coming to the end of our journey for
Getting to
today.
wrap
But
it
that's
up.
okay. That's okay.
That is okay.
We've had fun. So yeah, we're gonna let y'all get back to your lives. Just make sure you join us here on both of our channels next Thursday.
Straight from your mom's house, baby.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll
Y'all
give
have
her
a good
kiss.
weekend.
Y'all too. Yeah.
All right.